Hello and welcome again, everyone. Today we're going to recap a 2021 Korean movie named Pipeline. The movie begins in Korea, where oil and gas is an essential industry. The whole country oil is transferred via an underground pipeline network. The network is almost 1.5 km length, and being underground made it easy catch for the moles. A criminal gang named the Straw was interested in this business. They wanted to steal these pipelines, but no one could do this job except an unknown guy named the Drill Bit. The Drill Bit was so sure he can get the job done, but he was a fake drill bit who made a huge mistake while cutting the pipelines, and the whole place was burnt to the ground with a huge explosion. The Straw then knew that was a fake drill bit and decided to suspend him out of his gang. Later this day, police went to the incident scene. The two detectives Mansik and Goo were surprised by what happened. After a good look at the whole place, Mansik was sure that the drill bit did it. Cause years ago, Mansik caught the drill bit for the same crime, but this wasn't a reliable story and it would never be approved. So Mansik and Goo decided to proceed with the investigations on their own. In the meantime, Straw was so disappointed after what happened to them, so he paid Taiwan a visit, as Taiwan was the guy who gave them the fake drill bit. After a quick fight, Taiwan admitted that he knew that guy was fake and promised them to arrange things with the real one, only with one condition: to pay him as much as he would ask. Later that day, the real drill bit went to Taiwan's place and knew about his new job with the Straw gang. But drill bit saw the two detectives watching him, so he called them to have a regular talk. Detective Mansik told him about the pipeline robbery that ended up in disaster. The driller technique matched Drill Bit's technique, but Drill Bit denied it at all because he was out of town. Then Mansik tried to catch Taiwan as an oil thief, but found out he isn't working with the moles anymore. To get more information about these moles cases, Mansik went to his chief officer and asked him to get him back in the investigations team, but his boss refused this request. On the other hand, Drill Bit went to Straw's place to get more information about his task. He accepted the mission, but asked for $2,000, so Straw accepted the deal. Drill Bit started to work on the pipeline with a smart technique, and he could drill it successfully and took his money. But just before leaving, Straw offered him a new job with another guy called John. So Drill Bit took the information he needed and left the place. The next day, Drill Bit went to John's place, as he could finally meet him to know more about his new task. This time, it was a complicated job, as Drill Bit will drill 2 holes in 2 different pipelines and not just 1 hole. Drill Bit was curious about the storage of this huge amount of oil, but John told him about the old water tanks that he will use as an oil storage. But this mission has to be finished in 1 month, cause these water tanks will be replaced with a new compound in 50 days. Drill Bit was so happy that he finally could get a new challenge, but he told John about this job complications. First of all, he will need to drill a huge tunnel to get a good access to the pipelines. That would cost him both money and effort because there would be no time for mistakes. John offered Drill Bit a deal to pay him $500,000, but Drill Bit would only accept it with $1 million, and John accepted it. Drill Bit then went back to the hotel to start his arrangements and to meet his new team: the welder, the driller, Min, and finally the receptionist, Park. Drill Bit's plan was to start drilling under the hotel, and Park will watch their back. Then they will connect hoses from the 2 holes directly to the water tanks. John warned the team about his conditions, as no one should leave the hotel under any circumstances. Anyone who leaves will be suspended. Straw then collected the whole team's cell phones, as phone calls will be restricted during work, and Mr. Min started to discuss with them exactly where to dig. Doi the driller wasn't convinced with Min and has another idea, but Min told him to stick to his plan, as he know the land better than him. Then they started their job immediately by drilling a tunnel under their room, but in the midway, they stopped by a hard rocks, and that was challenging enough to stop their whole work. The driller told Drill Bit about what they found and let him decide what to do next. Doi was so scared about the moisture that could destroy the whole tunnel. Min then told them to go around these rocks cause that was their only option, but Doi had another opinion: to double the supports and continue the digging. There was an argument between the whole gang about what to do, till finally Doi asked them all to get back to work again. Min and Sab the welder were taking a break, and Sab saw Min taking bills. During this break, Doi found a new problem: a hard, rocky wall that needs much effort to get broken. Drill Bit then asked Geob to get back to the room and to start singing loudly. That should be enough for them to break through the wall. In the meantime, Mansik and Goo was still looking for any evidence, so they went to the pipeline drill Bit opened for Straw, and then Mansik decided to check the rest of the pipelines. On his way, he got suspicious as he saw the hotel still working and it was supposed to be closed. So he passed by the hotel reception, and Park talked to him while pressing the alarm button to warn Drill Bit's team about the police presence. But its wire was cut due to the hard rocks, so they didn't get the alarm till Park called them on the radio. So before Goo could see anything, they all could cover their digging, and Goo didn't suspect anything till he saw saw Doi cause he was so sure he saw him before. But Doi made up a story and Gu believed it, so he decided to leave the hotel. And Park went to the hole to fix the alarm wires. But then a part of the wall destroyed, and both Job and Park was buried. Everybody was so scared and they all thought they was dead. But Min decided to start digging till he found his two co-workers and got them out. But that was a fair warning that this job isn't like any other job and they need to be more careful. What makes things worse is that Mansik could convince his boss to get back to investigations department, as now he has a real case. On the other hand, Job was so afraid after what happened. So one day he got his money and tried to escape from the hotel, but Doi could catch him. After Doi and Sab beat the hell out of him, Job said that he has a sick kid who need to be treated. Doi found out that John has cameras all over the place and now he knows everything. John came to meet the team and said he has the right to suspend the contract, but after all, no one escaped, so he will let them continue their work. Before leaving, John gave Job a phone and asked him to tell him everything and he will get more money. Later, Mansik and all his team went near the hotel with ultrasound detectors to check the existence of any metal under the ground, and they almost caught Doi's gang. But the gang started to escape once they heard Park's alarm. Doi, the drill bit, forgot a couple of metallic tools, so he went back to grab them, but he was suffocated with a gas leak and lost his concussionist. Min refused to let him go and get back to help him. In the meantime, Mansik decided to leave as he thought the metal they found was a gas pipe. Min took Doi back to their room and gave him a painkiller to make him feel better. Then Min asked him to let him go only for tonight, as he need to be beside his wife during her surgery. Doi couldn't refuse Min's request after all what he did and let him escape, but suddenly Job saw them and started to blame Doi, who was about to kill him when he caught him escaping before. Doi tried to explain himself and why he would let Min escape, but Job didn't listen to him. Job asked Doi to let him go with them, otherwise he would expose them to Park. So Doi didn't have an option but to take Job with them. Job betrayed them and texted John telling him the whole truth, but John was busy killing a guy, was asking for his money back from John, and that gave them the chance to escape. But at the hospital, Min knew that his wife is already dead, and all what he did wasn't really enough to save her. Back again to Mansik, who was working really hard. He found pieces of the hotel floor in a trash can, so he and Gu decided to reinvestigate the hotel till they find out the whole truth. In the hospital, Job claimed that he still need to be checked as his leg is burnt, so Doi and Min went back to the hotel through a hole. But once they were out of this hole, they found John, Straw, and their gang there. John asked his men to beat Min, the old guy, so Doi told him that he won't work for him anymore. But John threatened Doi with his mother, saying he will hurt her. John also punished Park for not telling him about the escape mission, so he sent her to dig with them. From now on, Doi's team will work under Straw's watch, and anyone try to escape will be killed. Star refused to give them any break and asked them to keep working like animals, but suddenly Min fell to the ground as he is an old man and can't work like this. Doi decided to take him to the hospital, not thinking about the consequences. But when they were about to escape, they found Straw's men all over the place. Doi tried to face them with fire, but John arrived with a gun. When Min tried to pull it, John shot him by mistake. Sab didn't accept what happened and tried to hit John, but John shot him too in the shoulder. And now no one left to fight but Doi, who was already exhausted cause of the hard work the whole day. But he insisted to kill John, who shoot him too in the chest. And before John killed everybody else, Mansik and Gu arrived and they were about to catch him. But John managed to escape somehow. Park didn't know what to do as they are all injured or dead, but she was happy to find Doi alive, as the bullet hit his pocket watch and didn't hurt him. Doi, Park, and Sab escaped from the hotel trying to get some help. Then they took the car and escaped as Doi told them he has a safe house. No one could find them there. Sab didn't know why would John do all of this. He has a lot of pipelines. But Park said that there is many loan sharks want money from John, so he needed to pay for his debts. John then called Park and told her to take the rest of the team and get back to the hotel. Otherwise, he would kill them all. Then John called Job and asked about any new information, but police officers didn't let him talk as they wanted to arrest him, as Job was trying to escape from the hospital. Doi arrived and took him to the car. Now Doi had a new plan that would transfer the oil wherever they need without digging a single meter, using the metal detectors technology. First of all, Doi met John and he had a new offer, $5 million, and Doi will transfer the oil to the tanks. As John badly needed the money, he accepted the deal. So Doi and his team started his genius plan. But in the middle of the day, Job said he is exhausted, so Doi gave him a break, but Doi followed him to see what he wants. Only then Doi understood that Job is a spy, and he is the one who told John about the previous escape. But Doi couldn't do anything as he saw Gu and Mansik in the same area. Now Doi was so sure the police is watching them, so he ran in front of them to distract them and not letting them know his new plan. Later then, Doi started his new plan, and it was critical cause they need to transfer the oil without any pressure loss. Otherwise the oil company will know. Mansik and Gu arrived near to them in this moment. moment. So Park asked Job and the welder to pretend drilling another wall, cause that would distract the police officers and let Doi finish his work. Doi was trying his best to install the new valve till he finally could do it. In the meantime, Gu slipped and fell to the ground. So they took him to the hospital with Mansik, who felt he was so close to arrest the mighty drill bit. Mansik then was so sure he is so close to do it, cause he received a message with Doi's new technique picture. On the other hand, Doi opened the valve he installed and John was filling his tanks happily. But Doi closed the valve and told him he will get the rest of the oil only when he pay them the whole 5 million. After a while, Job opened the valve to let John got his money. But this time, Doi caught him, and they all started to beat him for betraying them. Minutes later, John showed up with the money bag and asked Doi to show him how to control the valve. And instead of paying them, John asked his men to kill Doi and his team, but hand dove the forklift and hit the whole container, so Park and Job could escape the place without Doi. Doi wanted to take his own revenge as John was treating them as they were slaves and threatened his own mother. So Doi could take a gun out of one of John's soldiers and was threatening John when Mansik arrived and tried to arrest Doi. But Doi asked the police officer to arrest John cause he is the main criminal and not him. Then Doi escaped to his team's car, only to find all of them handcuffed as Straw's people arrested them. Doi couldn't escape either and got caught along with Mansik. John put them all near the valve after transferring lots of oil. Then he installed a bomb to explode the whole place. That would make him the only company who still have oil after the explosion. After John left, Doi asked all of them to keep moving to hit the welding machine. Just after its fall, there was a fire that set all of them free. Doi then removed all of the bombs and threw them away. So when John exploded the place, he couldn't see the huge fire he was waiting for. John then started to explode the water tanks, but he was shocked finding that it only contains water. That was cause of Job, who finally decided to do something right. So he closed the oil source so John couldn't get any oil. And to finish things, John and his men attacked Doi's family. This time, they wanted to kill them all, including Mansik, the police officer. But Doi managed to hit John, who was on the ground. And Doi was about to kill him, but Mansik stopped him. Cause now Doi is just a thief, but if he killed someone, it would be a disaster. Then the backup arrived and they arrested everybody. Doi and his friends were sent to jail for 3 years. 3 years later, when Doi was released, he made his own workshop and his own gang. They all was working as moles, but in a very high level. The end.